Hi, all. So I'm here today to give you your astrology for September 29th all the way to October 5th. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be very confusing, interesting week. It's the beginning of a lot of confusion that's going to be happening in the month of October. I think it's actually going to be going all the way through the end of the year, but a lot of revelations, a lot of change, a lot of I'm over it. So get ready for all the transformation, and that is in the beginning of this week. So we start the week September 29th with the shift of energy. Last week we ended the week with the energy of Sagittarius, and this week we started with the energy of Capricorn. When we're in the energy of Capricorn, we usually tend to be very disciplined, very organized, very ready to do things, make commitments, make agreements. If you are signing contracts, if you are coming together with a person and coming up with ideas, partnerships, if you are thinking about new ways to move like your life and your work and like the way that you feng shui different things in your life, this is definitely the day to start because Capricorn does make you very disciplined, very organized. It's a time of contracts. It's a time of really seeing things clearly and knowing what it is that you need to commit to be able to execute whatever outcome that you'd like for your future. So take advantage of it, especially if you're thinking about coming together people and really getting like something hashed away so that you can make something happen. This energy of Capricorn will be with us till Wednesday, so you have enough time to like really get all your ducks in a row. I hope that helps you. So we get to Tuesday, the last day of the month. This is Tuesday the 30th. The moon will still be in Capricorn, but there's a trine energy, a return of energy with the Venus in Virgo. I think Venus in Virgo is a very good energy. It depends on the person, but I really do think it's a very good energy. This is one of your emotions are kind of put on check because they're not the most important thing. You're very practical. You're very grounded in the way that you approach things that you love, people that you love, in situations you have a very strong emotion towards. This also includes negative emotions because Venus is all about passions. So it can be something that is driven in a lusty attraction energy, but also an anger energy, and all of it being kind of neutralized because of the energy of Virgo. So return of this emotional energy that is like very neutral is super important, especially when we're talking about the energy of Capricorn, which is all about discipline, contracts, agreements, and things like that. So what I'm seeing is that we started the energy on Monday with like really trying to put our ducks in a row, talking to the people we have to talk to and organizing it ourselves so that we can make these contracts and agreements so that we can bring forth what it is that we would need and have the discipline required to make that happen. But now we're having this energy of, and I'm not going to let my emotions take the best of me. I'm going to think of things very clear headed, and I will like put together, I want to say, a decision of pros and cons so that I know what is right for me. So I think it's a really, really productive time. Take advantage of it. Now we get to Wednesday, October 1st. And now, when we enter Wednesday, October 1st, we are still in the energy of Capricorn, but we're also in the beginning of the chaos. Why do I say that? Because we also have Mercury in Libra, which is a lot of air together. The sign of communication, of speaking, of networking is connecting to the sign of balance, right? The sign of like, I want to say, creating, um, I want to say courts, right? Legal systems, legalities. Uh, so if you're thinking about it that way, here we are in Capricorn with this energy of this is the discipline that we need if we want to get to where we want to go. These are the people and the contracts we need to make that happen. This is what we're coming to an agreement to do together, blah, 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 or I'm saying it to myself, etc. But now this is when Mercury enters Libra, we are really looking at it and it's like, is it making logical sense? Am I talking to the people that I need to talk to? Is everybody in the same page? Is everybody willing to do the same stuff? And there is going to be a looseness of tongue where you're just speaking your mind. Why? Because we have this energy of a square. And I done told you that when there's a square for me, that's a wall, the wall that is being presented upon you. And this wall is the Jupiter and Cancer energy. What is Jupiter and Cancer? This is your seeds of growth is what I'm going to call it, Jupiter in Cancer. It's kind of like Cancer is all the fundamental relationships that you have around yourself, root chakra, right? The ground that you are using to create that life that you want. And then Jupiter is the seeds that you are planting in that ground to give you the outcome that you'd like. Okay. And this is when I was telling you, you have to make sure that you're planting your seeds on fertile ground, that they will actually get the sun they need, the attention, the people, places, things. It's like if you're thinking about the elements, the earth, the water, the wind, the fire, to be able to create itself into existence. And what you're starting to notice is that though you made the agreements, and though you consolidated all kinds of things, and though that you're coming into this energy of understanding, everybody putting their 2 cents in, you are actually starting to notice that maybe what you're expecting from the other side, that can be yourself or that can be another person, might not be something that they're willing to give you, or that you're willing to do, or that you have the physical, mental, spiritual capacity to do. And so that wall is a need for you to understand if you just have to pick different seeds, right? Where maybe it's like this that you want to do is too much for you right now, but you can go with this direction and this can help you for this other thing that could then create the building blocks to get what you are, like making baby steps, right? But if it's with another person, or another organization or a job or whatever, this is when you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? I'm starting to notice that what I'm wanting from you is not something that you want for yourself. And I can't do that for you anymore. And then that's when you're splitting ways, because you're seeing the contracts that you have and if they're making sense and if they're falling in fertile ground and if they will give you the outcome you want. Okay. This is not about being the mean guy. I tell people, like, you hear it all on social media, healthy boundaries, healthy boundaries, healthy boundaries. One of the biggest problems with healthy boundaries is that people assume that I am creating this boundary. Let's say it's this, I want water in this thing all the time, right? And that means that everybody around me is responsible to always have this water here all the time because that's my healthy boundary. And that's not the case. The case is I want water here all the time. What can I do to make sure that I have water here all the time? I'm going to fill it up all the time, right? Or I'm going to make this person responsible to fill it up. And if that person agrees, yes, I will take on the responsibility to fill this up. Both of you guys have come to an agreement that this water bottle must always stay full, and that other person will take on the responsibility of filling it up. If that other person is not filling it up, it's not for you to start fighting. It's not for you to hash up the past. It's not for you for everything. That is to the point where you're like, I am sorry. I just realized that I am putting forth a boundary for you that does not compute, does not work with, does not align with what you would like. Okay. So I've decided that I can't have you fill the water bottle because that's not what is aligned with you. And I am imposing my boundary onto you when that's not the one that you would like. And so I'm talking about water because it's very neutral and nobody's going to take a side here, right? But you have to think about it that way, right? A boundary is that I want this filled all the time. If a second person wants to be part of that boundary, thus the other person saying they will fill that bottle for you, then everybody has to be in that agreement. If that other person is not willing to do that, then that's when you have to, this is when you have the Mercury in Libra and you have the square in Jupiter in Cancer. You have to make the decision. Is this something that you're willing to consent to, saying, well, it's okay. I guess the water bottle just has to be filled twice a week because that's what I can handle. I mean, what you can handle. Or where you're compromising your boundary, or you get to a situation where you're like, I absolutely will not allow for me to be with a person that's not willing to fill out my water bottle, especially after they agree to do so. I think that both of us have different things that we want in this world, and you can go in your direction. That's kind of what I'm seeing for October 1st. It's the beginning of a decision if a contract is being fulfilled or if it's not, if it's possible or it's not. And this is contract with ourselves. This is contracts with our jobs, the people around us, our family members, etc. Okay, so I hope you understood that because it was a little bit on left field, but it's because I'm trying to be neutral enough that it won't make you think of something specific that will take you away from what it is that you want. All right, I hope this helps you. So now we get to Tuesday, October 2nd, a very interesting day. The moon enters the sign of Aquarius. Now, the sign of Aquarius is all about authenticity, clarity, and truth, right? Be authentic in yourself. Then there's also a trine, which is a return of energy, and the return is this Sun in Libra. So clearly speaking your truth, clearly seeing the truth, clearly wanting equal reciprocity and justice. Now, one of the things that I find very interesting about this day is that for an entire month, I had calculated this day and I was really paying really close attention to astrology because of the fact that um, I pay really close attention to the retrogrades. They affect certain parts of my life, and I like to know how they're going to be affecting my astrological placements so that I can get prepared. This is how I do with my Mercury retrograde. So for an entire month, I knew that October 2nd to the 16th, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde. Okay. I even did my entire astrological roundup with being a Mercury retrograde from the 2nd all the way to the 16th of October. So lately, I did a check in with my astrology, and can you believe that according to the astrology, there is no Mercury retrograde in October? It is now in November. I found that extremely interesting. So my thought process is either I jump timelines, or like I'm in some quantum loop that I didn't even know about. And I think it's more about me jumping timelines. Why is this important? Because I think most of us are going to be experiencing something maybe not as extremely weird, but something weird like that Mandela effect or the butterfly effect, right? I'm feeling that going to be taking place in our lives. Um, Again, the 2nd all the way to the 16th, the Mercury retrograde that I recall is going to be taking place in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio and Libra are all about this month of October. If you guys are not looking at Scorpio readings, if you're not looking at Libra readings, you even if that's not your zodiac sign, you are really shortchanging yourself, especially because of the influence that those signs will have on every single sign in the month of October. Scorpio is all about death, it's change and transformation. But this Scorpio is super important because Scorpio is also in Mars. Scorpio being in Mars makes us a little bit extra feisty. It's like spiritually, emotionally, energetically, we are in an energy of internal battle and warfare. And that links up with the energy of Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo turns off our heart, right? We are practical when it comes to moving forward. So here we have news that is coming through. I told this when I was doing the readings. This Mercury retrograde doesn't feel like other Mercury retrogrades. This Mercury retrograde feels like a revelation of some truth that we could not see before. Mercury retrograde, I mean, Scorpio has a lot to do with the death card. It has a lot to do with the hidden, with the occult, with other people's resources and finances and money and things like that. So, if we're putting all of this together, what we are seeing is an energy in which we are definitely um, being influenced by something that gets revealed to us. And it's external, it's internal, and it's expansive. This is, I want to say, the beginnings of a shit show that's going to really, really hit the fan in the new Mercury retrograde that will be in November. So keep that in your mind, in the back of your mind, because there is going to be so much change happening, and that change is going to be initiated due to this period from the 2nd all the way to the 16th. Whatever gets revealed to you here, it's going to be creating like an internal war, because not only is a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, but also Mars is in Scorpio. So it's one of those things where it's creating like internal turbulence, where so much so that you are refusing to ignore it. And usually we can swallow it down, usually we can ignore it, but this time it's not possible. There's a lot of death in the energy of October, and I know that Halloween is during this time, and there's all that energy around there, but it's different. This October feels very different. It feels very much linked to some kind of death energy, like the Reaper, like um I don't know, like Passover energy. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but the religious folk will know exactly what I mean. And it does feel like we're jumping timelines and things are not going to be as they were. So be very open. I would say be very calm. Go with the flow, especially because there is changes. I do expect us to have a lot of dizzy spells or feel weird in our heads, having headaches, having twitchies in our eyes, and just feeling like weirdness in our bellies, because that's usually when there's a big energetic shift where people feel it like up here and they feel it in their bellies. So I would say get ready for that too. All right. I hope this helps you. All right, we get here to October 3rd, Friday. The moon is still in Aquarius, so still we're in this creative energy. We're in our authenticity. We want to move and shake and create many different things. Now, the sign of Venus, it gets away from that energy of Virgo, where we're really practical, and it moves into Aquarius. I would say that would be a really amazing energy, except for the fact that we also have the Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius. So there's so many funny things that are happening with Aquarius right now. And there is this tension because of the loss of identity due to that Pluto in retrograde in Aquarius. So there is a lot of creativity, there is a lot of flow, there is a lot of changes. When it comes to what you are being called to do, this can be connecting to people, connecting to resources, connecting to a partner, etc. You're going to um, you're going to want that your partner, you're going to want that your friends, you're going to want that the acquaintances that are around you are more in line to yourself. There's less giving of yourself and more, I want to hang out with people or do things with people and work and do stuff that is aligned to my greatest truth. Now, besides that, there's an opposition. And the opposition is what I told you, that are like waves, kind of like the ocean's waves. There are things that, if you have a faulty foundation, if you're not strongly planted in the reality that you know that you're in, can make you move strongly. And this opposition is in the North Node. And what this is all about is that those that are not authentically planted will be confronting karmic tensions. Karmic tensions being, I'm sorry, my nose itched all of a sudden. Karmic tensions being um, discomforts, bad luck, things being hindered, being stopped, um, growth being limited, things being restricted, a lot of tensions. And these tensions are trying to help you um, reveal what you might need to be adjusting in your life. Um, I'm not a believer in that and bad things are necessarily bad. Yes, I am aware that some things are really, really, really bad, right? But they teach us, everything teaches us something. Um, and sometimes they teach us in a really, really harsh, wrong way. But there is so much that comes from, I want to say, demonic energy, dense energy, dark energy, things that we will never see by just living in the light, right? Like eating the apple and getting out of the Garden of Eden sucked. But at the same time, it revealed to the human the potential it has. Um, and so I guess what I'm saying is that try to stay calm. Um, I know that this is the Mercury retrograde that isn't a Mercury retrograde playing its little game. But whatever tensions reveal itself on Friday, pay close attention. And instead of saying how unfair or feeling like the victim, think about, what's this trying to teach me? What can I do different? What did I learn from this? How the hell do I get out of this? And then move in that direction. I hope this helps you. So now we're going to talk about Saturday and Sunday together, which would be October 4th and the 5th. Now, the reason we're putting these together is because the energy is about the same. First of all, the moon enters the sign of Pisces. I'm expecting us to be a little emotional this weekend. Okay? This can be extra crying, extra happy, extra. It doesn't matter. Just know that your emotions, when it comes to emotion, happy, sad, erotic, angry, all of it can be in a very amplified degree. Okay, that is on the 4th and the 5th. Besides that, what's coming back is this Mars in Scorpio. It's kind of a triangulation, which feels like an arrow hitting us hard with the energy of Jupiter in Cancer. So Mars in Scorpio trine and Jupiter in Cancer trine. And what are we getting hit really bad about? We're getting really hit really bad about where we want to be and where we are, and if where we want to be is going to be able to be done with the people, places, things, and energies we're currently in. Do you see why we're so emotional? We're emotional because we're gonna we're in an impasse, right? Tomorrow on the 6th, no, tomorrow, let's say Monday, the 6th of October, after the weekend, there is a full moon in the sign of Aries. While this Mars and Scorpio energy is happening, and while this Jupiter and Cancer energy is happening, and while all these freaking retrogrades are happening all at the same time. That is like losing your shit because you're realizing that where you have planted your seeds, where you have invested, where you have given your blood, sweat, and tears might not be in alignment with you. The entire week feels like that, especially if you felt this karmic tension that I know we all are going to feel in one way or another, the most minute way to the most expansive way on Friday. It's kind of like, I want to say, like if somebody just gave you a slap in the face telling you, what are you doing, fool? You're in the wrong place. They're not like you. Move on. That hurts. It hurts big time. There's going to be a lot of people acting cray-cray because they're going to feel the world crumbling around them. Especially if this entire year they have been fighting against the current. They have been trying to create something that just does not want to happen for them. And they're like, if I just put more blood, sweat, and tears, if I just give more love to it, if I just fight more, I'm going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen. This is going to be amazing. And then coming to that realization of, oh my God, this really isn't going to happen. I think this is the beginning. I'm feeling that full moon is the backlash, the massive worldly return to slander that will feel like you just got it handed to you. So I guess give yourself some grace because you're being forced to see something that you might have not wanted to see. I hope this helps.